Does your dad really have cancer?
No. No, no, no.
What?
No, 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 don't do that! I thought we were having a nice date!
We are. Sit
Why
down.
does it matter? I thought we were having a nice
We are.
date!
We are. It's okay.
Have you seen Obsession? I'm assuming you have since you clicked on this video. I see Obsession as a very yandere film because it takes the obsessive and unrelenting devotion that is exaggerated and highly idolized in anime portrayals, and it brings it to real life in a horror setting. Hey, it's Lumi, and I know this isn't the usual stuff that I post, but after seeing Obsession, I kind of just had to talk about it. I'm a little late to the game, but here I am anyway. I'm also going to be connecting it to one of my favorite things, which is yanderes. I'm making this video with my close friends, Octobel.
Hey, this is my first time recording my voice for a video, so I apologize if I sound a little off. Yandere content isn't typically what I seek out, but I've definitely gotten invested into a handful of stories with this trope unintentionally, and I'm really excited to talk about some of my favorite examples for this video. I also want to discuss obsessive love in general, so a heads up that not all the characters I'll be talking about are necessarily yanderes. Spoilers for Doki Doki Literature Club, Verity, The Amazing Digital Circus, and The Kid at the Back Head.
Okay, a little backstory. A yandere actually refers to a state of mind where a person has a liking for someone, but it becomes excessive and results in the person becoming mentally ill. There are about 5 different types of yanderes: obsessive, possessive, protective, manipulative, and violent. And Nikki pretty much checks all of these boxes in different parts of the movies. Spoilers for Obsession if you haven't seen it. Obsession follows Bear, a cowardly man who can be described as a sort of nice guy, in quotation marks. He makes a wish on a one-wish willow for Nikki to love him more than anyone in the entire world. Now, I already kind of see this as a form of yandereism just from like Bear. By the way, yandereism is a word I just use. I don't know if it's actually what we use. But anyways, I kind of see Bear as an obsessive person himself. Even like without Nikki in the movie, I think that how Bear feels about Nikki as a person, I feel like that's a version of obsession in its own right. But regardless, the wish alters Nikki's mind, creating a fake persona that makes Bear her entire world. The real Nikki trapped under the surface trying to break free. Fake Nikki, at least is what I've been calling her, is a kind of possessive caricature that is devoid of any real emotions or personality. Bringing it back to the yandere aspect, fake Nikki idolizes Bear for some reason. I don't understand why. And makes her entire life about him because that's what the wish made fake Nikki want. Fake Nikki will lie, pretend, and do some pretty messed up stuff in order to keep Bear from leaving her. Like lying about her dad having cancer or quite literally murdering people. And we'll get to that soon, but I think that's where we get to the hallmark of what makes someone a yandere. And that is taking out the competition. The characteristics of a yandere are obsession, but also the action of it and how it can affect others. There's a quick scene where the two of them are watching a movie and Nikki is just staring at Bear, not paying attention to what they were watching and just at him. Then when Bear tried to go to work without her, fake Nikki tried to trap him inside his house by taping the door shut. Then after he left, she stayed in the same spot the entire day waiting for him, like all day, quite literally pissing and shitting herself on the floor. And I think this is where we get to the like weirdness with Nikki, like the fake version of Nikki, and how it does just get into that need to be around Bear at all times and that hate for being alone and like without the person that she loves or like quote unquote loves. So it's clear to say that fake Nikki feels like she needs Bear in order to live. And throughout the movie, she progressively gets more and more frightening and possessive. I feel like their relationship is like a toxic one with a jealous girlfriend, but tuned up to the max. Anyway, back to the plot. Ian, Bear's best friend, though he kind of sucks, so whatever, He throws a party, like a get together at his place, and invites Bear, but tells him not to bring Nikki because she's crazy obsessed with Bear, which is very reasonable. I actually hate lovey-dovey couples because it makes everyone uncomfortable. like at least for me, it makes me uncomfortable. And speaking of making people uncomfortable, at the party, fake Nikki recited this weird incest Hansel and Gretel story that I really don't want to get into right now, but it was kind of supposed to be her way of addressing how the real Nikki viewed Bear as a brother. It was kind of like her way of making it seem like the real Nikki still liked Bear in some twisted way. It was weird. Then Bear, like the idiot he is, gets the dare to kiss the person on his left, which turned out to be Sarah, another close friend of his and the girl who actually likes him. Don't understand that at all. Like, I genuinely don't know where she's getting that from, but it is true. And fake Nikki makes the funniest frowny face, like she is mad. And she really pulls Sarah's chair away and kisses him instead. Then real Nikki comes in and falls down screaming, "It's not me," and bangs her head in with the glass. I genuinely feel so bad for real Nikki. Like, the way that Bear has taken advantage of Nikki's state this movie is just ew. There's even a scene where fake Nikki is sleeping and the real Nikki is able to talk to Bear. And she tells him to kill her, like she's begging him to kill her, and that she's never been with him. But that selfish bastard says, "What's so bad about being with me?" or some crap. Like, I fucking hate him. But anyways, Sarah wants to meet up with Bear at like 3 a.m. and he goes for some reason. Like, he doesn't have a crazy girlfriend back at home. And then while they're in the car talking, fake Nikki bashes Sarah's skull in with a brick multiple times. You know, as one does. And that might be the last outright yandere thing she does, but it's definitely not the craziest. Because when she tells Bear to leave while she disposes of the body, he goes and, yells in his car a bit, the consequences of his own actions. And when he finally comes home, she's wearing Sarah's dress, has carved her tattoos into her body, and I can't actually tell, but I heard someone say she's wearing Sarah's scalp as well. Yeah, so she basically threatens to kill herself if Bear doesn't say that he loves her. And then Bear leaves to off himself as well in order to break the curse, but more so just to save himself. But then fake Nikki makes a wish on the One Wish Willow for Bear to love her as much as she loves him. But none of that matters because Bear does die since he took a bunch of pills in order to overdose. Though I'm gonna say he couldn't even commit to doing that because he was gonna try and barf them out before fake Nikki made that wish. So what a wimp. Like, couldn't even commit to anything like that. But anyways, so after Bear dies, Nikki snaps back to reality, seeing all her friends dead and her life ruined. And it is actually confirmed that she went to jail. So that's fine. Fake Nikki really is like a yandere. I don't know if they were like intentionally trying to go that route and like looked at that kind of media, but it is pretty obvious. She follows pretty much all the tropes. She's obsessive, possessive, manipulative, and violent, while also trying her hardest to appear non-threatening to the one she loves. So he won't leave her. She checks all the boxes, and this movie kind of becomes a wake-up call to anyone who found that dynamic ideal. I know a lot of guys who would be like, I would love my girlfriend to be obsessed with me, and I think bringing how that would look in real life to the big screen really like convinces people otherwise. So to further explore the yandereism, as I like to call it, we have a handful of characters that we're going to talk about.
If you know anything about me, you know my favorite trope in media is the type of diversion where a story seems lighthearted and sweet at first before taking a sharp turn for the worse, leaving the viewer stuck with a sense of dread. For example, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, Takabe's Original Sin, The Amazing Digital Circus, Medical Magica. They all use childish and playful aesthetics, and the viewer is forced to witness the corruption of these young characters. It can be a very strong narrative tool when it complements the story's themes. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared specifically is about the disillusionment in childhood. The first episode featuring 3 characters learning about creativity, only for the most childish characters' ideas to be constantly shut out as the wrong way of being creative, according to the teacher's narrative. This mirrors the way that many types of artistic expression are shut down unless they fit into society's conventions of what real art is. Or the episode about jobs, where they all learn about the different careers they can pursue. The teacher tells them, you can do anything you want to do, before shoehorning them into a factory for the remainder of the episode. Children grew up learning about how they can chase their dreams and that anything is possible, but the unfortunate reality of capitalist society is that the masses of people end up completing works they aren't passionate about and becoming part of the machine, treating people like tools rather than humans. Don't Me I'm Scared opening up with fun visuals and upbeat songs before switching to borderline gore and muffled yells fits the disillusioned theme perfectly, and hyperbolizes the disconnect between what a child is shown and the reality of their lives. This is to say, when it's pulled off correctly, I love it when the viewer is lured into a false sense of comfort. I think it's why I'm naturally pulled into the yandere trope despite not really seeking it out. Many yandere tropes utilize the same bait-and-switch approach, and, in my opinion, Doki Doki Literature Club does it best of all. From the outside, Doki Doki Literature Club is another cutesy dating sim about a player and their childhood friend joining the literature club. You write poems and learn about the three new girls, possibly finding love along the way. Though, as I'm sure we all know now, Monaco becomes aware of her digital existence and manipulates the code of the game to delete all the other girls so she's your only option. The player is stuck with her in an empty room in the end, all comfort removed from the game. Monica is an interesting character for me, not just because of this trope, but also because, for yandere, she doesn't really read to me as being in love with the player. I think learning of her digital existence, and the existentialism that comes with that, it's actually the driving force behind her fixation. The player, to her, seems like the only solution to the hopelessness that comes with your reality being shattered and learning that your life has no inherent value, because he's the only thing that's real, and the only thing that logically matters in life. She freaks out if you stop playing the game for too long because you are all she has. Not in a romantic way, but in an existential way. Monica's innovative, deep writing as a yandere is why she's cemented her spot as one of, if not the most iconic yandere in media. She's a really fresh take on the concept when the game came out. The concept of a girl in a dating sim being self-aware, paired with the diversion trope, makes her character really engaging both in-game and in discussions. Like Monica, Verity as a character becomes aware of his digital existence and obsesses over the humans that contact him because they're the only real thing he has. We're introduced to him as a mod in Minecraft, but eventually learn that Verity is actually a conscious being who has always existed within the internet to help people. Again, I really like the idea of a digital character clinging onto the player because they're the only real thing in their life. It's an existential kind of horror. Verity at first is a helpful companion to Mob, the player. He knows everything, and he wants to use that knowledge to get Mob to love him as well. So he lets him ask him anything. It starts off innocent at first. Mob asks where diamonds are, what biome they're in, and where the nearest village is. But the next time Mob asks about a village, Verity tells him that there's one east, but not to go to it because it's empty. We learn that Verity, in his monster form, had cleared out the village of all its villagers. We don't know why, but my guess is that maybe Verity didn't want Mob to talk with other people, and so we killed him. He does this later when Mob brings a friend into the server as well. A little later, Mob asks Verity if there's anything he should know when he wakes up, and Verity quickly says, something is coming in 3 days. That something ends up being Verity himself in his monster form, hunting Mob for avenging him. If you're curious about what happens next, I really recommend checking out the series. I think this series shines a lot in its plot twists and suspense.
To the amazing digital circus! My name is Kane!
Well, I suppose there's a pattern in the characters I've been mentioning now. Digital characters who obsess over humans that enter their realm. I'm very biased because I'm a really big digital circus fan, but Kane is my favorite. A lot of the appeal to Kane for me is that, unlike the others, he's not an all-powerful being within his realm. It seems to be the case at first, but really, the humans can change the world just as much as he can, and sometimes when Kane tries to alter the world, he fails miserably instead. He tries to make Scratch happy by altering his brain and ends up abstracting Scratch instead, for example. In short, Kane is a prototype. He was the first AI King and Scratch made, but he was soon replaced by a new model, Able/Bubble. And in anger of being shoved away and forgotten, he kills the second AI and consumes him. Kane's only objective as an AI is to assist and please humans. However, because he is only a prototype, he's incapable of completing such a task. It makes him go crazy, trapped in a cycle of attempting to do everything the humans want to make them happy, only to fail again and again. I think the reason Kane struggles so much is that he becomes extremely self-centered in the sense that he wants to make humans like him. It's his sole purpose as an AI. But he isn't willing to take the steps to understand how to make them happy. This is best seen in his conversation with Zubul in episode 4, where he tries fixing him and winning her favor, but he just can't listen to them. Or Ponji's line, yelling at him, and on top of it all, you just don't listen. In the end, Cain earns the affection of the humans by learning to level with them and collaborate, and pushing aside the selfish, cool part of himself. Soul, like Monica, seems sweet and unassuming at first, while secretly becoming obsessed with the player and violent. It then also gives you another romance option, like in Doki Doki Literature Club, but again, Soul isn't intent on letting you pick it. At first playthrough of the game, I was actually more interested in Crow, the other boy. When the opportunity presented itself, hug or kiss him, I stupidly went with the second option. The game pulls you into a sense of comfort in the scene. There's a nice music playing in the background, the atmosphere is gorgeous, and there's a kind of comfort that Crow brings in the way he treats the player compared to Soul. Well, the next day, the player doesn't see Crow at school. Crow is an extremely responsible person, so it's unlike him to skip without saying anything. The player starts asking around until they eventually start searching for him themselves. They hear the phone go off deep in the woods, and they find shelter. Opening the door, Crow's body is spilling blood, limp on the wooden floor with Soul standing over him. After such a peaceful scene, this sight is incredibly unnerving. Soul didn't want the player to choose Crow, and so he killed him. Of my characters mentioned, I'd say he is the most explicitly yandere.
Huh? Hi there. My name is Giffany. I'm a schoolgirl at School University. Will you help me carry my books?
Okay, I don't know if this is niche or not, but one of my favorite yanderes is actually Giffany from Gravity Falls. I consider her one. I don't know if you would. But a quick recap of the episode. Basically, Seuss downloads a corrupted dating sim, and it's kind of like DDLC, where Giffany is like super cute and unthreatening at the beginning, and then she slowly shows how obsessive and possessive she actually is. When Seuss tries to go on a date with a real girl, she yells at him and bangs on the screen.
Let another girl take you away from me, Seuss!
It's so funny. But she can also leave her game. Like, she's not like trapped in that game. She can travel through electronics. So during Seuss's date, which is at a Chuck E. Cheese-esque restaurant, she takes over the animatronics and tries to kill Mabel, Dipper, and Melody, the girl Seuss is on a date with, and blackmail Seuss into going to the game with her so they can be together forever. Just like a crazy version of Five Nights at Freddy's, by the way. I didn't see this in the movie. Anyways, Giffany is Gravity Falls' way of representing dating sims and anime culture, as well as referencing games like DDLC, which I think was out in 2012 when this came out. I don't know. Don't tell me, and don't ask me. I genuinely don't know. Her episode really is one of my favorites because of how cute and terrifying she is. When introduced, Giffany seems very adorable and sweet, which immediately makes the audience suspicious of her, knowing how this show kind of operates. She's programmed to be the perfect partner, but after killing the person that made her, she's desperate for a purpose and to fulfill her objective. Every time someone picks up her game, they eventually realize that something's not quite right and then throw her away. When Seuss picks her up, she does anything that she can to keep him with her. She cannot be abandoned, and there's no obstacle that will stop her. Quite literally, she's still not dead. She's still not dead. We don't know. She might come back. Who knows?
She's actually the suspect in a series of deaths where the victims all bled out. So far, her name and face have been kept out of the media.
Toga here! Himiko Toga!
Okay, now we're getting into my favorite, character that I really want to talk about for this video. Himiko Toga from My Hero Academia. She's not what I would consider a yandere. She's definitely more of a character that just experiences obsessive love. But I think her arc throughout, the anime, it's really beautiful. I think how her character was done was really well. It was really well done. Toga is someone who experiences love in a different way from everyone else. She, because of her quirk, loves people when, she sees blood. Blood is something that's very important to her. It's something that's very important to her as a person because it's how her quirk, operates. That thirst for blood comes from her quirk because her quirk is drinking it and becoming that person. And that thirst for it kind of drives her in her relationships with others. She becomes obsessive with people because she wants to become them. She wants to drink their blood. She wants to feel them in her. And that's like how she experiences love, is how she experiences relationships with others. And I think that's kind of what makes her such a interesting character, because she does have those like emotions, like those strong love emotions, and it doesn't make her a bad person for having those emotions, but what makes her a bad person is how she goes about experiencing those things, like killing people, drinking their blood, and like doing things like that, like harming others. That's where we get into her being a bad person. And I think that it's very interesting to see that kind of shift, like in how we usually view love, and see that like her twisted version of it. I think that's why I love her character so much. Most people know that Toga is very, very much in love with Izuku, like Zuko Midoriya, Deku. She like really just idolizes him in a different way than a lot of other characters do. For example, Ochako idolizes Izuku, but like in a different kind of way. Toga idolizes Izuku because he just has a different aura about him, and she just like wants to drink his blood. Like basically, she wants to drink his blood, and she wants to be like him. You know what I mean? In quite literally the literal sense, versus someone like Ochako, who is also like in love with Deku and idolizes him. She wants to be like him in the philosophy kind of way. She wants to be like the same kind of hero, wants to have the same kind of beliefs, and wants to have the same kind of strength as Deku has, versus Toga, who wants to quite literally just become Deku and like feel how he feels, just like in his body. You know what I mean? And building on that, speaking of Ochako, Toga also loves Ochako. She sees her as another person that she can become, that she can like feel in her body. And it's kind of a different kind of way of wanting to be someone. Like she can quite literally make that happen, versus someone else like Ochako, who wants to be like Deku but isn't going to become him. She just has that kind of feelings about him. But yeah, I do love Toga. I think that she isn't really a yandere. She doesn't kill in order to get to where she wants to be, like with her partner. And she also doesn't protect her partner. She kind of harms the person that she likes, which is like her whole thing. But I think what makes her obsessive love in an obvious way is that she loves hard, and she loves a lot. And that kind of love is tainted, and that's the reason why she harms people, and that's the reason why she has her people, other than just, for her own gain, but mostly because of that kind of love aspect, and because she hasn't been taught a different way on how to kind of think about love, and think about how her quirk works, and think about how society could fit, with her quirk. And I think that with all those things said, it changes the way that we, as the audience, thinks of Toga's character, and how the narrative thinks of Toga, and how, her quirk and her ideology kind of shifts through the show, especially near the end. I don't want to give too many spoilers about the end, but yeah, I think how her ideology shifts, especially because of Ochako, really, really really changes Toga's character, and makes her very much more as a character, instead of just like the obsessive, cute anime waifu. She's now like more of a character. She has bigger feelings, and she becomes more redeemable as a person, though I guess we'll never know, right? But yeah, that's Toga. I actually had even more I wanted to say about Toga. I'm recording this as I'm editing. Talking about Toga some more, I love her relationship with Jin, or Twice. The fact that their relationship is just so strong, so deep, and it's like how much she loves him, not even in a romantic sense, but just in a familial sense, finally having someone that she can relate to in that kind of way. It's just so deep. It's just so nice. And after this is big spoilers, but he does die. After he dies, how she reacts to that, like, feeling, it's so sad. It's so heartbreaking. And her final fight with Ochako really shows all of those layers, all of those things that come up. It's so deep, it's so crazy. But yeah, I just thought I'd add that last bit because her and Jin's relationship is another one that is just really, really well developed in the story alongside her relationship with the rest of the League of Villains and Deku and Ochako. Mostly Ochako, less Deku, but that whole situation.
Thank you so much for making it this far into the video, and don't forget to subscribe. I really enjoyed talking about so many of my favorite characters for this, and I hope you liked listening to it as well.
Yes, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and comment what other yanderes you guys know. I know there's so many in media, especially anime, so I would love to hear what you guys think. And yeah, thank you Octopo for coming onto this video, and thank you for watching this video. See you later. Bye.
Goodbye.